Connecting. I think we're not dropping any frames, are we? I think it's working. Hello, folks watching my stream right now. Yes, I'm seeing that I'm coming up on the YouTubes at this very moment. So, in a rather rare stream, I have notes this time. Wait, hold on. I think there we are. There we are. Okay. Yes, I have notes because I wanted to start a new kind of show. So recently, through both science and magic, I was able to get a hold of a Famicom Mini. So that means I now have access to almost every Famicom game ever made. And I'm also a crazy person, so I thought, what if we just played every Famicom game that was ever made? And not only that, what if we put them into context? I don't know about you people watching, but I like to listen to a show called Laser Time, where they put pop culture references into context. Specifically, there's a show called 30-20-10, where they look back 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and 30 years ago at things like movies, games, TV, music, all that kind of stuff, and contextualize everything. Like, oh, so David Bowie put out this album at this time that this movie came out, and that's also around the time that this game came out. So it gives you a kind of look back into how people were feeling at that particular time and what might have been informing people's takes on those particular events. And I have particular notes, not just for each game, but also for things that were happening at the time. So on July 15th, 1983, the Famicom was released in Japan. And one of the first games for it was Donkey Kong. Now, you've heard so many things about Donkey Kong. I don't necessarily want to tell you things that you already know. But did you know, let me look at my notes here. Did you know that the Famicom was first released at 15,000 yen? How much could that possibly be? 15,000 seems like a staggering number. How could anyone know what 15,000 yen means? Well, I'll tell you. Because in today's money, 15,000 yen is about $150. But did you know that in 1983, 15,000 yen was very nearly $63 back in 1983. That means you could have, if you were an American visiting Japan at the time, you could have bought a Famicom for like $60. Like, holy shit, that seems really cheap, right? Because how much did the NES come out for? I mean, it must have been at least $150, $200, right? That doesn't sound insane to me, does it? Now, in today's yens, that's about 18,000 yen. The Famicom, if you had priced it in 2017 yens, would be about 18,000. Oh shit. The Famicom would be about 18,000 yen, meaning it would be about $170 in today's dollars. Alternatively, let's see, $65 in 1983. That was $160 now. Like, holy shit, how did people buy things? Well, I mean, how do people buy things now? $60 back in 1983 is worth $180 now. That's like 300%. Holy shit. Oh my god. It's input lag. I'm just blaming it on the input lag. And to put everything in perspective, let me tell you about what it's like to buy a Famicom in Japan now. Because, okay, so recently, this is about putting everything in context. It is the year 2017, and last year Nintendo put out the NES Classic Famicom Mini, much like they did with the NES Classic Edition. They put it out in Japan for $60 whole. About, yeah, 6,000 yen. So you could get the Famicom that way, although really not anymore, because guess what? They discontinued it because apparently Nintendo doesn't like money. Alternatively, you could actually buy an old Famicom. The only problem with the old Famicom is that it only has RF out, meaning that it's like how you hook up your cable. I don't know. I think cable boxes still work this way. I haven't lived in America in like 6 years, so please correct me if I'm wrong. But you know that coax cable that usually you hook up your you hook from your cable box to your TV. That's how you hook in the Famicom. There's technically, from the original Famicom, I mean, there are mods to get you composite video out, but otherwise, you're stuck. You gotta put it into, like, an old-ass TV. You're not real, I mean, I think theoretically you could plug it into a HD TV. It's just gonna look even more horrible than if you put in an AV Famicom. The AV Famicom, I guess I could mention that now. No, don't get it by the Fire Monster. Don't get it by the Fire Monster. The AV Famicom of BTW came out, I think it came out in the 90s, and that was much like the American NES had composite video out, because the original Japanese version did not have composite video out. Now today you can actually find at more enterprising retro game stores, they will have modded Famicoms that do composite video out. But those are pretty rare and they can also get pretty expensive. Today, if you walk into Super Potato and you say, "Hey, I want a Famicom. I want an original boxed Famicom like you would buy it back in 1983," costs around, I think, about $200 complete at the bigger retro game stores in like Tokyo. Indeed, I'm out of Mario Twins, I think. $200 for a CIB Famicom. That's insane. But let me put you on the flip side. I actually bought a CIB Famicom. I bought one at a place called Hard Off. I bought it for $10 because they hadn't tested it and it didn't have an RF switch. Being that thing, you plug the RF switch into the back of the Famicom, and then that switch eventually somehow plugs into your TV. And it does not look good these days, the original Famicom. Like, I put it in to play Super Contra, like, the gray jail bars were, like, intolerable. So I would highly recommend, if you want to play original Famicom games, get yourself the AV Famicom. And I mean, get the original Famicom just to, like, enjoy life, but it's not gonna output the best picture. Also, the controllers are hardwired to the system. It's just not a good look. It's really annoying, and that's actually what's kind of annoying about the Famicom Mini, is that they decided to go for nostalgia over, like, accessibility, and they hardwired the Famicom Mini's controllers to the actual unit. So, like, not only is it small, but the controllers are really small. Yeah, let me show you right here. This is the controller. It's really small. This is my hand. It's awful. So that's what I have for this segment, 1983. What I've decided to do is I've split all of my notes between all of the games. I guess, I could talk about all of the launch games. So there were 3 launch games at the time the Famicom came out in Japan. There was Donkey Kong Jr., and a little game called Popeye. I should note that all of these games, I'm pretty sure, were actually arcade units developed by Nintendo and then ported over to the Famicom. And the other thing notable about these launch Famicom games is that so this is coming out in July. July is actually kind of a weird, maybe it was different back in 83, but to me, July is kind of a weird time to put out a game. Recently, this is the year 2017, and Nintendo is actually putting out ARMS and Splatoon for the Switch in the summer. But even in Japan, the summer isn't really a big game release time, so I wonder why Nintendo figured it would release the Famicom in July. I should note that July 15th is also a very curious date for them to release this, because in Japan, there's a festival called Obon. Obon is a festival honoring the dead. I don't know too many of the specifics about it. If you know about Obon, you might know... you might know about the giant fire that they set on top of a mountain in Kyoto. For most places in Japan, Obon takes place on August 15th or thereabouts. But anyway, it takes place in August. It takes place in my area around the 15th, and that's also another weird time because me not being Japanese and not really being into that particular celebration, because I mean that's not my, I didn't grow up with it. So it's like me, I go to work. Even though I teach at a school and I'm there, I have to go in the summer, you know, because Japan. So I'm there, and basically nobody else is. Like, it's about 5 other people who don't take the day off. Most people will take about that week off in August and spend time with their families, and I think that's really cool. But in the Kanto region, or what was it in Pokemon Red and Blue? It was Kanto, right? It was in that particular area of Japan, so around the greater Tokyo area, Obon is celebrated on July 15th. So I am wondering what Nintendo was thinking putting it out at that time. Maybe they thought people in Tokyo would actually have time to go out and buy things, because, you know, holidays, you know, national holidays. Obon isn't, weirdly enough, it was only made a quasi-national holiday very recently. For some reason, Obon was never an official holiday. You didn't get the day off. You had to take days off work. You had to take your paid vacation off. But recently, actually in 2016, the legislature enacted Mountain Day, where you're supposed to enjoy climbing mountains or something. But that's, I think it's the 15th. I can't remember exactly what day it is. But it's around Obon-ish. And I think probably the mass celebration of Obon probably was one of the impetuses. Oh, no, no! Ah! I think Obon was one of the reasons why they decided to put a holiday in August, because until now there was no holiday in August. There's a national holiday pretty much every month, except for, well, used to be August, and I think June there's no holiday. No, April's got a holiday, February has a holiday, but yeah, something like that. Nintendo is headquartered in Kyoto, so I wonder if they just figured they just didn't care about people in Tokyo. They're like, we're releasing this on a holiday, so you're just gonna have to deal with it. Maybe that's what happened. Ah! He's gonna get me, he's gonna get me! Oh no, am I gonna die? Yep, it's gonna happen. There, I'm dead. You got me. J Contra, control your unit, please. What do you mean, control my unit? Fancy kerbloops? What are you talking about? I think my stream, no, my stream looks good. Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about my, my Mario twin? I mean, I'm trying to control my Mario twin. I got to level 2. I've actually not gotten this far in Donkey Kong before. Well, okay, no, I did when I was a kid. So I remember playing, what did I play? I was playing Donkey Kong 64, and within Donkey Kong 64, they actually put in an arcade cabinet of Donkey Kong that I'm pretty sure you have to, like, at least beat one level in order to continue, in order to get, like, one of those gold medallions. Donkey Kong, let me think. What else did Donkey Kong come out for? Because, I mean, we know it's an arcade game. It's been ported basically to pretty much every Nintendo system. I'm pretty sure it came out in what was basically Nintendo's test for the Virtual Console, which was in Animal Crossing. And I wonder if the original Animal Crossing, so the thing with Animal Crossing was that it came out originally for the N64 in kind of a limited fashion, because I think most of us in the West know Animal Crossing from its GameCube variant. But that actually came out second. In Japan, oh, I got rolled. I wonder if the original N64 Animal Crossing had those little Nintendo games that you could buy from Tom Nook. I'd be very curious to know that, but you could at least get it GameCube form in terms of Animal Crossing. Let's see. They also, I'm sure, yeah, they definitely ported it to the Game Boy Advance when in the early 2000s, Nintendo, I think that's when Nintendo really started its like retro push. This is, of course, I think 10 years. I think it was to celebrate, no, 20 years. Yeah, the 20th anniversary of the Famicom's release. They started porting Famicom games to the Game Boy Advance, and Donkey Kong was definitely one of them. Yep. That's, I guess, yeah, staying on the ladder is death. I don't really have a good... I do not have a good strategy for Donkey Kong. There's been a lot made. I remember watching Scott Pilgrim. And in Scott Pilgrim, of course, to ingratiate themselves with the nerd types, Scott Pilgrim says that in the original Donkey Kong, the character that you control, we often think of it as Mario, but actually, it is called the Jumpman in the instructions. And while that was originally true, I believe that Nintendo has made it official that this is Mario. I'm just gonna call him Mario, I don't care. I don't care what people say. So while, yes, I suppose it's correct, you can correct people and say that, well, actually the character you're controlling in Donkey Kong is called Jumpman, not Mario. It's not actually true anymore, and Mario is actually, I think, kind of the result of localization when you think about it. Like, oh god, am I gonna have to go all the way down? Yep, nope, oh! Because the name Mario, I mean, I think most people know the story. The name Mario comes from the guy who managed Nintendo of America's warehouse. So Nintendo of America got all of these arcade cabinets from Japan for an arcade game that was not going to do well, and that kind of sucked. And they're like, holy shit, guys, we've got all these arcade games, what the fuck are we going to do? And it turns out that Donkey Kong fit into those arcade cabinets, or you could reflash the memory and get change from the original game to Donkey Kong. And as they were putting these arcade cabinets together, this Mario character, who was managing the warehouse, comes by and is, I think, demanding rent or something. That was the story. I think the story is sourced to the great book Game Over, which I think came out in like 93. So Mario's name comes from America, and it has been with us ever since, when you think about it. Yep. Oh. Come on, come on. This particular level is the worst Smash level. Whenever my friends and I play Super Smash Bros., we're just like, no, we can't do this. No, we can't play this level, it's horrible. So we just end up skipping it. We'll just, yeah, everyone just comes together in their hatred of the Donkey Kong level. Can I jump up? See, I can touch the princess. Although once again, that's not Princess. That's actually not Princess Peach. That's actually Pauline. I don't know if they actually ever did like a remake of Donkey Kong with the true Mario characters. I bet they have. Wouldn't surprise me. Do I got any other stories about Donkey Kong? Oh, BTW. If you are a Donkey Kong Country nerd like I am, you will note that this Donkey Kong has actually been retconned to be Cranky Kong from Donkey Kong Country. Just so you know. Okay, which ladders are gonna go down? Do I win? Do I dare? Nope. 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 Oh, I'm dead. Okay, I can do it. We can do it. Okay, we're gonna cut it out after this level. But I'm pretty sure I can do it. I can do it. Come on. Come on. Oh, no, that fire, he's not playing around. That fire's not messing around. Why are the fires allowed to climb up ladders? Also, don't get the hammer. Well, be very strategic about your hammer usage, because once you get the hammer, you can't jump, You also can't go down the ladders. But you can also take out those fires. For some reason, you can crush the fires with hammer. I don't understand it myself. But I'm also not the one who made this game, and I'm not Shigeru Miyamoto, who has like $1 million. So, whatever. Okay, on that note, we're going to switch it up. We're going to move on to Donkey Kong Jr. Yeah, okay. There we go. So that was Donkey Kong. Now we're going to go to Donkey Kong Jr. Which actually I don't think has received that many ports. I actually can't even remember if it was on... if they put it on the NES Classic. I bet... What do I get? What do I get? I got something. Oh, jump over here. And as you can... Oh! Donkey Kong Jr. is much more climbing oriented. Oh, also BTW. Speaking of Donkey Kong Country. So you have Cranky Kong up there in the cage, and Donkey Kong Jr. has been retconned to be the Donkey Kong from Donkey Kong Country. Isn't that nuts? Okay, let's wait for him. Move to the side. I should also get my notes, because I actually wrote a lot for this part, because I got into politics. I got into 1983's politics. So I know it's going to be super interesting for you guys. Okay. What did I get? All right, here are my notes. Donkey Kong... Okay, Donkey Kong Jr. Also released on this date, July 15th, 1983. Once again, developed by Nintendo. Oh, here we go, the jump. Who is... All right, so the American president was Ronald Reagan. So wait, was the election in 1982? Is that right? Because every 4 years, it was either 82. It may have been 80. That sounds right. So Ronald Reagan has been president. And who is the Prime Minister of Japan? That would be Yasuhiro Nakasone. Now, in my research on Yasuhiro Nakasone, I have come to the conclusion that he was crazy racist. Oh, and despite all of his racism, the only reason he was kicked out of office was because he tried to implement some kind of tax that people didn't like, and so that's why he was kicked out as prime minister. So something to remember about this part of the 1980s in Japan is that, at least according to Wikipedia, my hour-long research into Wikipedia, is that in 1983, Japan had not yet hit the 1980s, like, boom. Now that is, but you also have to remember is that by 83, Japan is coming out of probably one of the biggest economic miracles of the 20th century. After the war, Japan was able to recover, and throughout the 60s and 70s, kickstarted in no large part by the 50s and America's need for Japan to be a part of the effort in Korea. Japan was, for about 20 years, I would say probably through the 60s and 70s, although I can't remember how well it was doing in the 70s, Japan was able to transform itself into the world's second largest economy. And the Famicom, I think, is very much a result of that transformation from... Oh no, I'm stuck. Oh! The Famicom was, I think, the culmination of Japan's transformation from a maker of just cheap industrial products that perhaps weren't all that well made into an electronics and high-tech manufacturing powerhouse. On the flip side of that, what you have to remember is that the Famicom was meant to be cheap. Like I said in the beginning, the Famicom was about $60 at the time. I mean, 100, let me think. How much? I don't know how much a Japanese person would have conceived of, like, 15,000 yen at the time. Because 15,000 yen now, what can you buy with 15,000 yen? Let me think about it. In today's day and age, 15,000 yen, it'll get you I mean, not even a PS3. Like, no, it'll get you a used PS3. Oh, I'm dead. 15,000 yen will get you. Let's see, a PS4 is 30,000 yen. That's the PS4 Slim model. So for half the price, and the thing about Japan's economy is that there's not a whole lot of inflation. 15,000 yen is only 18,000 yen today. So, I mean, it was meant to be cheap. Like, you can't even, a Switch is 30,000 yen. Let's see, I guess for about the price of a Vita is about 19,000 yen. I think you can get one new. So for about the price of a Vita, you could have gotten the latest in home console technology. Oh, I always get what is that? That's a weird deal. Oh, nope. You gotta jump over. That's what you gotta do. I'm jumping up. That's a mistake. These things. First of all, what are those? I don't understand what the hell those things are supposed to be. They're like they're just little teeth. Are they like piranhas? Is that what they're supposed to be? Oh. I promise. I know I've gotten to the 3rd level. No, wait, no, I did actually get to the 4th level of Donkey Kong Jr. in practicing for this stream. So I know I can do it. I just don't know if I can do it while I'm talking. All right, let's go, Mario. Let's do it. Oh, yeah, that's right. You just got rolled, son. Okay, what else was happening? So, yeah, Japan was #2 economy in the world. Oh, I should also note that apparently the early 80s was a resurgence. There was a big resurgence of Japanese nationalism, which is also kind of weirdly connected to today, and I will tell you why. So, that prime minister, let me get his name, Yasuhiro Nakasone, he was a Japanese nationalist and kind of racist, actually pretty racist. His deal was that he wanted students to, how would you say this? Appreciate Japanese nationalism. He wanted the rising sun flag to be flown. This is according to Wikipedia, at school entrance ceremonies and at school graduations. Now, what I should tell you about the rising sun flag is that it's kind of Japan's Confederate flag. It's the flag that was flown by the Japanese Empire, both during its conquest of China and during the war. So its history is, I think, very loaded, and I don't like when I see it flown because I know that whoever is flying it is probably not going to think too highly of me since I'm a foreigner. And this guy implemented, and he wanted education reforms to instill patriotism into Japanese students. Now, that was 1983. Let's bring that to the year 2017, where a school in Osaka, this is, I believe, like a private elementary school or perhaps kindergarten. This school is also trying to do the same thing. It's trying to, I mean, patriotism is one thing, but patriotism in Japan has a very complicated history. So I think we need to be very skeptical of whenever someone, I even think Americans, I think it's very easy to mask fervent nationalism with just by saying it's patriotism. We need to be very careful of people's agendas in terms of patriotism, because it is only a very small step towards nationalism. And that's enough, I think, for the politics hour. But we also need to remember that Nintendo is also a very conservative company, but I don't know what their politics are. I don't know if they've ever donated to any particular political party. Okay, jump. Yes, you just got rolled. Oh yeah. Okay, I did it. Okay, this is the furthest I've gotten yet. No, I got, so this is a very interesting part, and I think what kind of separates this game from the original Mario. or from the original Donkey Kong, is you got these birds coming down, and you gotta dodge them. You gotta get these keys up there to get out Cranky Kong. That's right, I'm calling him Cranky Kong. That's just the accurate. Also, I should note is that when you're playing as the Donkey Kong, not Donkey Kong Jr., you can go up, but it's much faster to go down, and that's key to knowing when to dodge those birds. Okay, come on. Yes, watch out for him. Okay. Nope. Okay, I missed him. Okay, he's coming down. Yes, okay. This is actually, I've not actually gotten this far in Donkey Kong Jr. And notice that when you've got a hold of two things there, you can go up really fast. Okay, now's my time. Do you believe? Yes. I've not done this before. I didn't get this far when I was practicing. That's right, Mario. You just got rolled. But then what happens? He just gets... Yeah. And then he just gets put back into the cage. Is there like a story explanation for that? Like, okay, so you freed your dad, and then he just gets captured again? Is this just like a never-ending cycle? Also, I was noticing this yesterday, but look at this. Whenever Donkey Kong jumps, he's got his mouth agape. It looks like he's kind of... Donkey Kong in this game looks kind of sad, if I'm being honest. Like, look at this. He's got this look on his face. He's like, I really wish I didn't have to be rescuing my dad right now, but I gotta do it because he's my dad, and he's stuck in a cage, and I gotta be helping him out. But I think it's very much that Japanese stiff upper lip culture where when you're in a tough situation, you just gotta bear through it. You just gotta do it. There's no complaining. And I think Donkey Kong looks very much like he wants to complain, but he's not going to because he's got to save his dad. Okay, look out for them eggs. Okay, get here. We're on a pole. We're on we got it. I got it. Come on. What? You saw that. I touched it. I grabbed that chain. I don't know what this game is thinking. Okay, let's get it on. Jump. Okay, so we got that. We're going on the platform. We're going to get that thing once it comes down, but we got to make sure we're heading towards it. Okay. Now's the time. Oh, what? So I think... What is happening? I don't understand why I'm not getting a hold of the other chain. I think even if you're like well within range, you have to get it perfect. Otherwise, it's not gonna happen. Come on, yes, okay. No problem. Next up. No! Oh, Donkey Kong, you just look so sad. How many lives do I have? I have 0 lives. I'm at 0 Donkey Kongs. And now... okay, now I'm absolute 0 Donkey Kongs. I think we'll go one more time. I don't have too many notes. And I mean, Donkey Kong Jr., it's an okay game. I don't know if I like it more than I do the original Donkey Kong, now that I think about it. It's definitely an interesting take on this style of game. But I do think, yeah, I think I like the original Donkey Kong more, just because the jumping feels better. Yeah. Okay, that was easy enough. Now let's see if we can do it again, but I'm back on level 1, and I think the thing with these games is they just go on forever. I don't know what happens if you get to, like... I think it just never stops. Much like Pac-Man, I think. I think Pac-Man goes on forever, right? No! And I wonder what the height is at which you die, because I think you can fall off that moving platform in the center. You could fall off that and land on the platform and still be alive, but I guess once you fall off anything higher than that. I wonder what the pixel count is for dying. Actually, yeah. Can we test that? Is that possible? No. Huh. Weird. Okay, I'm just gonna wait for those guys to come over. Jump. Got it. Now this comes over. Wait, grab onto that. Okay, now. Do we believe? Do we believe we can do it? Yeah, there we go. Okay. I don't know why that time worked and the other times did not. Oh, shout out to Crontendo, by the way, which kind of gave me this idea. There's a guy on both Blogspot and on the YouTubes. There's a guy called Crontendo who is playing through I believe every Famicom and NES game. I decided to do a combination. But he doesn't. His videos are interesting because they go into the background of the games. You know, talking about their inspirations as well as the games themselves. But I wanted to talk about a more sort of putting things into a cultural context. Not only talking about the games themselves, but also the world in which they were released. That was just something that I think interested me. And why would you do a stream that did not interest you? So, that's why I am here. Hopefully, let's see, if we play 3 Famicoms every stream. 3 Famicom games every stream. I think, how many Famicom games were there? Let's see. Famicom games. I'm pretty sure there's at least over 1,000. Let's bring up the YouTubes here. There is, at least according to the Wikipedia, there are 1,051 Famicom games. So that means 300, 330, 350 streams. We're gonna need 350 streams to play every Famicom game, assuming we give every game about 20 minutes and we keep our streams to about an hour. I mean, holy shit. I'd like to do a stream probably once every weekend or holiday. Yes. So this could be like a 5-year project. I don't know. I want to do this because I was able to, get a super special. Well, I was able to make a super special Famicom Mini, and allegedly a Super Famicom or Super Famicom / Super Nintendo Mini is coming out towards the end of this year, and I will definitely make sure to reserve one because I did not reserve my Famicom Mini, and boy, did I pay for that. In terms of waiting, I bought it at retail. I feel bad. Oh man, the Famicom Mini now is going for $100 in Japan, like $150 on eBay. Like, holy crap. Meanwhile, the NES Classic Mini is like $300 now. Like, holy shit. I should also note, I maybe should have mentioned this before, but the Famicom came out, summer 1983. Meanwhile, the NES would come out a scant 2 years later, right? I think it was test marketed in 85. That makes sense to me. So there is a bunch of games, I think, which is so weird about these games for the original Famicom feel very limited. They're very much home ports of arcade machines, and also very primitive arcade machines. We're not talking about like cool-ass arcade machines that you saw in the 90s, like Virtua Fighter and Battle Gorega and like Time Crisis. all those 90s treasures. We're talking about like basic-ass shit. And I guess it would be better, because how much... I think Famicom games were like $40. Well, no, they were like about 4,000 yen new. And 4,000 yen, now that I think about it, is probably only like $20 in America back in the 1980s. Of course, that'd be about $60 now. So this was the NES was very much a cheap way of playing video games in your home. I should also note that I can't remember if it was if it was in 1983. It was around. I can't remember if it was before or after the NES. But and I'm dead. That's it. Yeah, I think no. We'll go until I get the game over. But in 1983, Atari released the Japan exclusive Atari 2800. Now you might be familiar with the Atari 2600. That's the wood-paneled, I think, Atari. That most people know and love and credit as the first big console in the Americas. That, however, was not officially released in Japan. You could import it. There were Japanese people importing the Atari back in the late 70s, early 80s. And the market was apparently big enough to where Atari decided that they would release a model specifically designed for the Japanese market. I believe it's a little smaller and probably has a power adapter made for the Japanese market. But that came out in '83, and the reason it didn't really achieve any kind of popularity was that it just, the Famicom came out. So it was like, oh, well, looks like this is Nintendo's slice of the pie now. And, oh, there we go. Okay, I'm dead. So, that was Donkey Kong. So, we've played 2 of the 3 release titles for the Famicom. Let's move on to Popeye. I think we'll talk a little bit about Popeye. And you can tell, like, even from the programming, I wonder if these were all programmed in very similar fashions, because they kind of all have the same menu style. Like, you've got the one-player A game, the one-player B game. Drop down. So the objective... I didn't understand what the objective of this game was, because you got this guy here. I don't know a whole lot about Popeye, to be honest. I guess he was kind of popular in Japan. Oh, he can punch up? I've never been punched up by him before. I didn't know that was possible. Now, if you want to take him out, you just get this spinach here. And look at it. He's running away. He's running away. I'm going to pop him. I'm going to pop him. That's right, son. You just got popped. And so I think basically you're invincible and you can just wipe that guy out. Your objective is to catch these hearts that Olive Oil throws down. Is that guy's name Pete? I feel like that guy's name is Pete. I haven't seen Popeye in like 20 years. I think I watched some of it when I was a kid. Oh! I don't want that. What was the deal? There was something about licensing Popeye that I can't... Oh, yeah, and he throws... I thought those were fireballs at first, but I think they're hammers. I think Pete... I'm just gonna call him Pete. His name's Pete now. He just... Oh, so can you not... Oh! He jumps down?! Holy crap, I have not ever had him jump down before. Key features, yeah. So 1982, I guess maybe that's when the arcade game came out. This was, like the other games, this was originally an arcade game. And then they ported it to the Famicom as one... Oh, nope, watch out. Nope, it's okay. When you push down... Oh, okay, so when you go to this ladder here... Oh, and he just throws you into the sea. That's what he does. He's just that big of a dick. I don't understand. Is he like trying to get Olive Oil's hearts? They don't make that clear why he's your enemy in this. So she drops these hearts down, and maybe I'll let him go to the ocean. Or the sea, could be, either one. So once it goes down to there, it's captured, and then this countdown happens. And I don't know if that means, like, if the countdown ends, you get a game over, or you lose a life, or whatever. But it's very ominous, so I don't let that happen. Let's get the heart. This is also, I think, unique in that Popeye... I don't believe this was ported... Or no, I don't believe this was released in America. I think this is a Japan Famicom exclusive, I want to say. Is he not going to come down? Can he come down on this level? I don't know if he can. At least he's not. You still got to be careful and not get hit by him, I assume. I think I'll wait until I die. I got more notes I split up my notes. I did like an hour's... Oh! There we go. I got pushed down. Okay, so my notes for this day, July 15th, 1985. The #1 song was Every Breath You Take by The Police. Which, while I think when I was in high school I liked The Police, and I thought Every Breath You Take was a pretty good song, I think it's now been reevaluated to basically be a stalker song. I think. Because basically it's Sting talking about how he's gonna just be watching this woman for literally every breath that she takes. So I've kind of stopped liking that song. And let's see, what else? Oh! So I think the big movie release for July 15th, 1983 was Staying Alive, the sequel to... They came out with a sequel to Saturday Night Fever. Now, Staying Alive is also starring John Travolta, and it is a movie. I watched the trailer. Staying Alive is a movie about John Travolta. It's set in 1983, and it takes place in New York. John Travolta is trying to become a Broadway dancer. So apparently he won a contest in 1977, and then it's become 1983. Disco is no longer popular. But John Travolta is trying to make it as a dancer. Now, the interesting thing about this is that this was both written and directed by Sylvester Stallone. So I guess it was maybe one of his passion projects. Oh, so you can just get punched right underneath? Because okay, one of the things I should note is that you can't jump. There's only basically, let's see, okay, he'll go down, and so you gotta stay underneath Pete. So see, I'm pushing B, nothing's happening. A is punch. The only thing I don't quite understand is that you can't punch Pete. I'll show you. Let me see. Okay, so you can punch. See, I punched him. I was very clearly punching him and hitting him, and nothing happened. The only way you can take out Pete is if you get the spinach, and then I think you just kind of touch him. So the punching mechanic doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So let's see, because you get... Okay, let's test it out. I want to test out getting the spinach. So I got the spinach. Oh, I guess you need a punch to get the spinach. You need to grab the spinach. Because see, I'm punching him, and no, you just touch him, and he's toast. He's gone. I don't know, but back to Staying Alive, the 1983 movie starring John Travolta, written and directed by Sylvester Stallone. It was called, in the 2000s, Entertainment Weekly called it one of the worst sequels ever made. It was nominated for some Golden Raspberry Awards, and apparently people did not like it. I have not seen it. I watched the trailer. I was not super impressed by it. I don't imagine I'll be watching it. Okay, don't get punched by him. Don't get punched by him. So that was the milieu that the Famicom was released in. I tried to look up stuff that was happening in Japan around this time, but I actually couldn't find a whole lot, simply because... Oh, I don't think the meticulous American nostalgia for things is quite kicked in Japan quite yet. Because I looked up, I googled, what happened on this day in 1983. And in Japan, there wasn't a whole lot around. In this month, there were some criminal cases. Wikipedia had a lot of stuff on, criminal cases that were settled. But did not have much in terms of, popular songs or movies that were out in Japan. I couldn't find any billboardy kind of stuff for Japan, so I'm not really sure. And plus, a lot of that stuff I wouldn't know, and people watching the stream probably wouldn't know. Maybe if something popular comes out in Japan around the time that these games come out, I will mention it, and that'll probably be more relevant once we hit the 90s, and especially if I start doing a Super Famicom retrospective. Otherwise, I'm gonna probably focus more on the American stuff, simply because I think that's what will resonate with most people, even though I was not alive in 1983. We won't be getting until my lifetime, until 1989. Ooh, I haven't gotten this far yet. Nope, oh, nope, you're not gonna get me. You're not gonna get me, Pete. That's right, I'm too fast. I'm too fast. Okay, let's get the note. Okay, so, wow. Yeah, we're getting to places unknown by me. So we got this boat. Why does this bird have olive oil? Has the bird taken olive oil as its mate? So now the bird is my enemy, I'm guessing. Oh, she's got letters. So P, let's get the H, E, L. No, E. What? Okay, so I'm building this ladder. Nope, nope, you're not gonna get me. You're not gonna get me, Pete. Okay, so we got one ladder up. No, you don't, Pete. No, you don't. It's not a ladder? So what the hell is it? Is it like a mast? No! Oh! Okay, come on. Come on. We just gotta believe. You gotta believe. Don't sue me, Sony, for stealing your music. Oh, and I got my game over. I wonder how many levels there are. So we've seen 3 levels of Popeye. You know, let's do something crazy. Let's see what Game B does. I didn't do Games B, the Games B for Donkey Kong or Donkey Kong Jr. I want to see how it spices things up. See, I thought what we were building was a ladder, but apparently that was a lie. Oh, there are skulls? There's this, like, old woman, I think. I think she's old. Who's just throwing skulls at me, and if I touch the skulls, I die? That's what happens? So I think the B game is just like hard mode, I think. I mean, baby mode. I want to lead the revolution in saying it's okay to play easy mode. I'm tired of people thinking that playing things on hard is cool and makes you more of a gamer. It's bullshit. Easy mode is where it's at. I tell you what. There he goes, throwing his hammers at me. Oh, and they go horizontally? I'm so okay. No, I can't do B mode. All right, let's go back to pro mode. So that was the mode for babies, and now we're gonna go back to pro mode. And we'll do one more run through. Then I think we've got July 1983 covered. I should also note that much like the Switch is today, the release calendar for the original Famicom was kind of sparse. Because we've got these 3 games coming out in July, and I believe the next couple of releases don't happen until August. So, if you were a little Japanese kid, and you had just been given a Famicom in 1983, first of all, there was no internet, so your life was horrible. Second of all, there's literally 3 games that you can play. I guess you could buy an Atari and play those games. Otherwise, you're stuck, and you don't have anything to do. You go to the arcade. I guess the arcade is where all the new games were happening. That's also another thing to note, is that, especially in Japan, since you could import other games like the Magnavox Odyssey, I think was also a limited import here. If you wanted to play video games, you weren't playing those at home. You were going to an arcade to play those games. And you were just blowing massive amounts of quarters. But think about it. Let's put this in perspective. If you wanted to play, I think 1 credit of Donkey Kong was probably 100 yen. I don't think, you know, I wonder what arcade credits worked. How arcade credits worked back in the 80s, because one of the things they say about Space Invaders, about the original Space Invaders, was that it caused a shortage of 100 yen coins. Probably because 100 yen got you 1 credit in the arcades. So I would say that 1 credit in Donkey Kong, so 3 lives, was 100 yen. Now you think a Famicom is 15,000 yen. Or 150 credits at Donkey Kong. Now you figure you buy the Famicom, you buy Donkey Kong, that's 19,000 yen. That means you would need to play, to make back your original investment, you would need to play Donkey Kong 190 times to even it out. Now, of course, that's of course not counting buying more games like Popeye or Donkey Kong Jr. So I'm guessing if the only game you bought was Donkey Kong and you bought the Famicom, you would need to play it 190 times. Oh, and the boxer. I didn't know that the things you wanted to get stopped. Okay, let's go, Pete. Let's go. Nope. Never mind. Thanks, Pete. Once again, Pete. So I think the strat here is to just kind of walk around and wait for the blocks to come to you. Wait for the letters to come to you. Because Pete doesn't seem to like coming down here too often. And he doesn't even fall down here. Like, I'll fall down. Like, look, see, I think I'll fall down. So yeah, I fall down, but Pete does not. That's very interesting. Why doesn't he do that? And as long as you stay away from Pete, he doesn't seem... Oh, nope, now the bird's coming down. I wasn't prepared for that. Let's see, maybe we can end this stream on a high note. Okay, where's the bird gonna go? Oh, bird's gonna go up there. So let's be very careful. Nope, you're not gonna get me, Pete. Oh my god, I survived that? Holy shit. Okay, are we gonna make this happen? Yeah, we did! Woo! You just got rolled, Pete. Olive oil has been saved. Oh, okay, so there's only 3 levels in Popeye? At least there were 4 in Donkey Kong. Oh, but now we're on the B game. Now we got the old lady throwing skulls at us. Which is, like, scary as hell. Like, hey, Ryan Rex wrote, yes, you're catching the tail end. The archive will be up as soon as I'm done streaming this, but I have been playing the first three games released for the Famicom, and putting them into context. So you know, maybe if you went, I think there's maybe some value in going back and watching all this, because I talk about July 1983 and you know, what the world within which Donkey Kong Jr. and Popeye were released for the. I talk about the world that it was released in, and what the deal was with the original Famicom. So I'm gonna end it here because I made it. I beat Popeye. I didn't realize that you could do that. So next up, we will transport ourselves to August, probably August, and maybe even a little bit of September, because I think there were only 1 or 2 games released in August 1983. But check it out. I'm going to do some more research. I'm going to get some more notes. I hope you've enjoyed this. I think the format's going to more or less be like this, and we're just going to see what happens. I mean, hell, in 5 years, I may very well have streamed every single Famicom game, but that's my goal. There will, of course, be other streams where I hopefully will stream newer games. But for now, when I've got nothing else going on, I think I'm going to try and focus on Famicom games. So, I hope you enjoyed the stream. I've been Jay Contra, playing Donkey Kong Jr., and Popeye for the Famicom. Thanks for watching, and mahalo.